Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Tasha, and today in this video we are going to learn more about electrons. In the previous video we learned about the periodic table, the different elements that we find in the periodic table, what the numbers that are written in the periodic table and the symbols mean. And if you haven't learned more about that, you can go on and check out the video on the periodic table on my channel. So today we are going to learn about electrons. Electrons, we established in the previous video that they have got a negative charge. And what you have to know is that all electrons have got the same charge, which is negative, and they also have the same mass. But each electron has got a different amount of energy. We find that electrons that have the lowest energy are found closest to the nucleus. And these electrons which are closest to the nucleus which we said contains the protons and the neutrons. Protons are positively charged and neutrons are neutral. So these positively charged protons tend to attract the negatively charged electrons. So that is why it is not very easy to pull away these electrons that are closest to the nucleus to react with another element. Electrons that have got a higher energy are found further away. So we find them in the outer shells. And the electrons that we find in the outermost energy level of an atom are called valence electrons. And these are the electrons that are used when we form a compound between two elements. Now, the electrons that we said are closest to the nucleus, we call them core electrons. In other words, core electrons are all the electrons that are in the shells of the atom, excluding the electrons that are in the outermost electron shell. Now, when you look at an element, when it has a full valence energy level, it will be more stable. We mentioned this in the previous video, that when we have an element that has a full valence energy level like this, it will be stable. You can see that here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electrons in the outermost shell, and that shell is full. It cannot react any further. It is not likely to react. But if we did not have an electron here, if we had 7 electrons, okay, let's put back the shell. If we had 7 electrons like this kind of atom would react because it is not stable. So it is likely to react how? By accepting an electron from another element. So there will be another element or atom which is willing to give away an electron. This atom that you are looking at in this diagram, it wants to gain an electron for it to become stable. So let's look in the periodic table. If you do have a periodic table with you, you can look. Let's look for an element that has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That has got 9 electrons, and that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's fluorine. So if you look in your periodic table, you will see that fluorine is the one which has got 9 electrons. So fluorine, for it to become stable, it will have to react with another element so that it can get an electron. So the element that fluorine can react with, let us use hydrogen. Hydrogen has got 1 electron, like that. So now if these two react together, we will form if these two elements react together, so we're saying hydrogen plus fluorine, you will form HF. You will form hydrogen fluoride. And the atom of hydrogen, which had 1 atom, and that of fluorine, which had 9, it will now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we need to use a different color for the electron that we gained from hydrogen. So hydrogen loses an electron, so it then becomes H plus because it lost 1 electron. And fluorine has gained 1 electron, it will become F minus 1. Ideally it should be plus 1 and minus 1, but we just normally say plus or minus if it's just 1 electron that has been gained or lost. So if you look at magnesium, magnesium has got 2 electrons in its outermost shell. So what happens to magnesium? Magnesium is likely to lose those 2 electrons. So magnesium will lose those 2 electrons and it becomes 2 plus. It forms a magnesium 2 plus ion. This way our magnesium becomes stable because magnesium has got a nucleus, then it has 2 electrons there. In total it has 12 electrons, so that means the second shell is full, so we need to have 8 electrons there. And then the last shell will have how many? 8 plus 2, 10. So in the last shell we need 1, 2 for them to become 12 electrons. So what we are saying is that magnesium will lose 2 electrons in a reaction with another element such that it will be left with a full shell. It will become stable this way after losing 2 electrons. So which other element can magnesium react with? Magnesium can react with oxygen, and oxygen has got 8 electrons. That means in the outer shell oxygen has got 2, 4, 6 electrons, which means oxygen wants to gain 2 electrons for it to become stable. So oxygen will gain 2 electrons from magnesium such that we will form magnesium oxide. Okay, so in this lesson we learned that the number of electrons that an element loses or gains determine the charge it will have in its ion. And we also learned that a full shell of an atom means that that atom is not likely going to react. And we also learned that Electrons that are closer to the nucleus are called core electrons, and the electrons that are in the outermost shell of an atom are called valence electrons, and they are the ones that are involved during reactions. Now we will meet in the next video where we will learn more about how elements react with each other.